Hey everybody, Bobby Chu here. I'm an artist in movies, animation, illustration, games, television, you name it. And I've been doing this for over 15 years. But I wasn't always doing this stuff. There was a point where I just wanted to do this stuff. And I remember in the very beginning of the studio, which we call Imaginism Studios, which part of the reason for calling it Imaginism Studios is because we wanted to make a living from our imagination, not necessarily because of how well we paint and draw, but even more so because of our creativity. But the other backstory to that name is it was almost an inside joke because it was kind of like an imaginary studio. It was just in my parents' basement in the very, very beginning, and we joked about it. But as we joked, we were also very serious about our desires, our goals of working in movies, in big games, in all sorts of things. The only thing was when we tried and sent our feelers out there, sent our demos, our portfolios out there, there wasn't really much response at all. Well, that's not good when you're starting your own studio, and especially when your parents tell you after a month of starting the studio in your parents' basement, they tell you, oh, we're gonna move to Taiwan. That's always been our dream. You're all grown now. We believe in you. All right, take care. And so all of a sudden, our budget became our kind of hourglass. And every day we'd see our reserves getting depleted. And we only had enough money to pretty much get to Comic-Con. And if nothing happened at San Diego Comic-Con, then our business would probably go out of business. But sometimes when you get your feet put to the fire, that's when you really truly discover new things. And what I started to realize was that I was spending so much time researching other studios, researching what positions were they looking for, things like that. I was spending so much time on that. And when I realized that, I started to think, wow, if I shifted all this time into getting better at my art, then that would probably help me get more opportunities. But the only thing was, I had a lot of things to do. When you run your own studio, you have so many other things to do. Oh my goodness, so many things that stopped me from doing more drawing, more painting, getting better at my art. But I needed to find a way to get to my art and get better at it. And so I started to dig into, where's all my time going? I started to really analyze, okay, when am I getting up today? Okay, then what did I do? Then what did I do? Everything. How much time did I spend in the bathroom just brushing my teeth, getting ready? How much time did I spend making a meal? And so on and so forth. How much time do you actually spend drawing and painting? That's what I really wanted to know. And if you ever did this, most likely you would be shocked at how little time you actually spend painting and drawing, and how much time you spend doing other things, preparing to paint and draw. Noticing how much time I spend not drawing, writing it down, and taking note of what am I doing instead of drawing. What were my results? Oh my goodness. Between different art projects, there would be an average of about half an hour between one task and the other. You do 4 tasks, that's 2 hours of wasted time. And so the strategy became simple. When I go from one thing to the other, I do it with haste. I do it with urgency. And I really try to notice, how long does it take me to go from one thing to the other? And because I started to do that and became far more aware of the time in between tasks, I was able to pile together so much more time in the average day. 2 hours of extra time turned into 14 hours of extra time in a week, which became 50 hours in a month, which became 600 extra hours in a year. Now, I was very diligent with squeezing out every little minute, and I still am. So you may not get the results that I got 2 extra hours in the day, but you might get an hour. And even an hour every day equals 360 something hours in a year. You would get so much better at whatever you put your mind to. So today, put extra notice on when you're not doing art and how much time does that take up, in between tasks especially. But just to keep track of the time throughout the day where we could be doing art, but we're doing something else. We're looking at social media, we're looking at some funny videos, we're texting people back and forth, back and forth. Be aware of all these spare minutes throughout the day. Add them up and see how much time you're actually spending on those things. And every time you go from one task to the other, do it with haste. Do it as quick as you can so that you don't waste those minutes in between. Even if it's break time, do it with haste. Get on that break, relax, and truly have a break for the scheduled time, and then get right back to it. With this extra time, what I did was I invested in my future by putting it towards learning something that will hopefully help to increase my value to the world. And the best way that I could spend my time and really increase my value as quick as possible was the combination between learning from others and doing my own art. There's many drawing and painting videos on YouTube for free. However, having a bad art teacher can be worse than having no teacher at all. If they steer you in the wrong direction and you think that that's the right direction, it could put you back quite a ways. So be careful of who you're learning from. Make sure you look into what have they done? What have they achieved with their art skills, with their career? Because when you learn from people that have achieved things, you are far more likely to achieve things. And most of these videos, I try to work in the idea of getting a Schoolism subscription every single time. Because with a Schoolism subscription, that gives you access to over 50 art courses with assignments, lessons, and all this great stuff from the artists behind your favorite movies, games, illustrations, and so on and so forth, doing the work that you want to do. And so I just subscribe to just one class at a time. Even though I have access to all of them, this is another secret. Just stick to one class at a time, maybe two at the most, because this keeps you from browsing. And when you browse, you don't really absorb the knowledge. So I tend to stick to a class and try to get obsessive over it. And then everything I learn, I also think about it when I start to do my own art. I just split up that time. Every day you learn a little bit, or some days you learn a whole bunch. And even though when I was in school, I trained to work in animation, because of just this one habit, I was able to continue my study while having a full-time job. And by doing this consistently, I was able to expand my capabilities of not just working in animation, but also live action. And that's what actually got me my first big break of working on Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Now, in the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I'm really just revealing the layers in Photoshop. So this isn't totally a process video, even though you do see the layers of my process. I do this because I don't want to record myself painting anymore. It affects my painting. I don't know if it happens to any of you, but now I just want to paint, and however long that takes, that's what I'm going to do. And then by the end of it, I'll do one of these kind of videos so you can still see how it was all built up, but just done in a much more fun way, I feel, instead of this constant zoom in and out all the time, especially when it's sped up like 20, 40 times as fast. All right, take care everybody, and have a great rest of your day.